OJ.
This podcast episode is brought to you by Itopia Life Herbals, where cannabis and culture combine for a one-of-a-kind experience. Visit them at 10A West Kings House Road, just across from Canadian Embassy. Also, follow them on Instagram at Itopia Life, or visit their webpage at itopialife.com for latest info on strains and merch. Also, if you big up Shortcut Barbers for the sharpest of cuts, shing! Hit up Shortcut Barbers, located at 9 Branchchaff Square. Steve, the one to big up the party, Jamani birthday party. Every girl get wet when I reach September 4th. That's Saturday, venue to be decided. Dress code, school uniform, admission, £20 at the gate. Big up all the UK folks. Big up yourself, Jamani. Also, big up all of our patrons, especially DB, Tamagood, Richard Van, Zach E. If you want to support us and get bonus content, exclusive access to content, first access to content before them jump on our main channel, go support us at patreon.com/thefixja.
Paternity fraud should be, I think it should be a punishable offense, because there's no other type of fraud that you can commit that is not a criminal offense and is punishable. Now, think about
Explain that, brother, though.
Well, if you commit mail fraud, wire fraud, any other fraud, you are going to be charged and you are going to be convicted and punished. Paternity fraud, well, firstly, Jamaica has the highest rate of paternity fraud in the world. I think the statistics say it's 34.6. 34.6, and followed in second by Nigeria with 30%.
It's a lot of jackets.
Yes. Now, when you think about it, based on the US Census, it says to raise a child from birth to 18, the cost is 234,000 US dollars to raise a child from, and that is just average. We're not talking about prep school and all of the fancy things. That is just basic cost.
Yeah.
Now, if you should look, 234K to raise a child from birth to infants, from birth to 18. If you should, and that's per child, if you should look at that, if you calculate that, what's our current exchange rate? 150? And this was in 2015, but say 150. So if we still use that and say one, that's about close to 35 million. Yeah, about 35 million. So that's 35 million.
I would have landed upon that figure too.
Right. So my thing is this. Imagine
Yeah.
you spend $35 million, and it could be a lot more. This is on one child. $35 million on one child. And at the end of, and then when that child gets to 18 years, oh, that wasn't your child. Would you be okay if somebody took $35 million from you and hide from you for 18 years? You would say, okay, forget it.
Fuck no, shut up.
Right? Would you?
Shut up. And this enough. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Right.
Enough people need to understand this. Enough women too, because they're the one who are committing these.
Right.
Atrocities
yes.
against me. It's all right for call it an atrocity.
Yes.
One of the greatest fear that men go through in their life, or I would feel, is raising a kid that's not theirs.
Yes.
And the greatest fear them that we have enough man to understand is them to know, so this Jackie thing, it's very harmful too, very.
It is. Because the thing is that most men work, and what they're trying to create is a legacy. And part of your legacy is to carry on your surname.
Yes.
So you want to have a child that you're able to pass your legacy on to, and or even if it's a girl. No
discrimination.
No discrimination, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, because a lot of women do marry and keep their surname and just kind of, append the man's.
Big up those women, by the way.
Right. So the thing is this, but when you look at it, you would be spending about $35 million over the course of 18 years on one child. This is a basic cost in Jamaica. Okay, even if Jamaica's standard of living is not as good as that of the US, even if you divide that by half, a half of 35 was 17.5 million, right? $17.5 million over the course of 18 years. That and if you even divide that further, like that is almost almost $1 million a year. So somebody's robbing you $1 million a year, and then at the end of the day, say, "Oh, don't worry about it, man." You know, so it go, and that is what you get. Don't worry.
A little
You
part.
did a good job. Don't worry about it.
Why do you think this junk epidemic is so prevalent within our society, Shadow?
I think a lot of women are looking for men who are providers and protectors.
Why Jamaica though? Why the number so high here?
34.6.
Yeah. From your experiences like with women, like why you think jacket thing is so prevalent out there?
Well, I think there are certain socioeconomic challenges that we have, and part of it is that while women want to have families and things, they also want to make sure that men are able to the children are provided and protected, right? And so sometimes they tend to want to, find the best possible suitor for that.
Basically, they want to have them cake and eat it too.
Right. So they want to be promiscuous, but then there's like, in the promiscuity, they go, well, I think maybe this person would be the best person to raise the child. I think that particular person would make the best father. I mean, there are other factors which, I don't know all the respective factors. As I said, I would have to maybe speak to like a social anthropologist or something like that who look into these things more intricately to tell you what are some of the other factors. But then when you do look at it, and for example, remember there was a story recently where a man, I think he found out five kids locally here, 5 children. None of them were his. And I'm thinking, you raise all 5 of those children and provided for them. So just imagine the exponential cost, not just financially, but otherwise.
Oh, the conversation that even go. The breaking of the news to him.
And nothing happens. Nothing. It's not, women just get away scot-free with that. And I'm saying no, because at the end of the day, if they were held, the women who do these things, if they were held accountable.
Don't use that word there with them, Shadow.
They would not do it. If they
don't do it. What?
Listen.
It's foreign to them.
No, but if at the end of the day, Naro, they knew that the fact that they committed paternity fraud and they could be held accountable in a court of law and forced to compensate the man for all of those years, a lot of them would rescind from doing it.
Why are there laws in place to basically propel these egregious behavior by women?
A lot of these laws are archaic because you have to remember there are lots of laws on the books which are coming from a period in time when women never had as much rights. And so laws had to be put in place to protect the woman and protect the child. And that's fine. But as we advance as a society, then I think the respective laws need to be revised and the respective amendments made.
But even in that case, I guess I could see where it's the lack of punishable law for women who do them sitting there. It protect them for real. But as you said, there's no sort of thing.
Personally, I wouldn't imprison them because at the end of the day, the child needs its mother.
Not what they're there for hold them accountable.
They should repay.
Yeah.
They should be held accountable to basically compensate the gentleman for that.
Say, oh, you're good youth. Osh.
I had a friend who he was, had sexual relations with this girl, and then she was having sexual relations with someone else and got pregnant. And she tried to give him the child. And I said, make sure DNA test is done. And he got a DNA and found out it wasn't his child.
Dodge a bullet.
And she said, he asked her, why you try to give me this child? And she said, you should consider it. What was the term? Let me not misquote. She said you should consider it a privilege.
You leave it have to continue, shut up. Yes. From me say consider, I know, did I go,
She said you should consider it a privilege, the fact that I thought you would have been the better man.
You see what the little mind games for them try work with it to try and convince you into thinking that this is a good thing. Because I see you as the perfect
I
model
thought you were the better
father.
man. Right.
A drunk of them.
But you want to go and be promiscuous, and then you want to come and give someone else a child to raise. No.
Get a wicked.
Right.
I wonder if it's...
Where's that in...
Yo,
Jarvis,
we need the sound
where's that invasion? Is
we're going to put it in a post. Yeah,
invasion. Much respect on that song. What is the song name?
There's never been a song
Wicked Girl or
that
what is the song name?
Then Get a Wicked.
There's
never been a song.
That was quite an anthem right there.
What?
Right.
That really touch the male psyche like that in the zeitgeist, the Jamaican zeitgeist, not like quite like that song that I got. I really think the girl them wicked for real, Shadow.
But you see, until you put it into perspective and they realize how much is being spent and what, and I remember, I'm just speaking about the finances. I'm not talking about the emotional and the physical challenges that a man have to deal
with. The financial ones, of course.
In raising that child. Because a lot...
5? Right. Well, a 5, Shadow.
Yes, 5. So just imagine that. So you multiply that number. Ari should be here now. And I say, Ari, multiply that for me. Struggles. 1, 2... Ari, you know you a G, right? Pick up yourself, Ari. Right.
I would not talk about how hard for raise one pit near the podcast. Imagine I raise 5 people in a year.
So you realize growing a child from birth to 18, the money that you spend on that child, and as I said, this is basic. If you want to take that child, if you want that child to live a above average life, it's going to the cost is going to increase exponentially. You want to go to the best prep school and you want them to enjoy all of the affluent things in life, yes, it's going to be even more. I can just imagine the further mind games you play with a man that will have the 5 pitting them, like certain things what you probably coerce him to do, and probably make him feel like, oh, he's not a good father in certain instances. So when I see people, for example, looking and saying, oh my God, Asafa is such a deadbeat dad, and I'm just like, the fact that he stepped up as a man, did what he needed to do for his child, and also extended the courtesy of making sure the woman is cared for despite the fact that she's not a significant other. True, which he made sure to point out and emphasize. Right? That is commendable of him. I'm Team Safa now. I've never been Team Safa. He could have just taken a draconian approach and said, listen, I'm just responsible for my kid and I don't care about you. But he didn't. He said, listen, regardless, I'm going to make sure that you're okay because I understand your well-being is important to the child. Even though we're never there. Right. Despite the fact that we just had a fling or a mistake. Or a whatever you want to call it. I'm not going to call it young ladies. Yo, if damn near call it so shut up. Right. But it is what it is. Right. Yeah, I've never found a brother more interesting than I do during this time. God no. Asafa is not the most he's not the most charismatic or characters. No, he's not. But the thing is that, I appreciate him. Some people are he's an introvert. He's an easy guy. And I appreciate him, and I appreciate everything that you have done for the country also, Asafa. Big up yourself. And I want to do for the man during this time as well. You know what I mean? Stand up for the right them. Make sure the pit in your ears for real. Right. So people is like, oh, and part of it, I think a part of what needs to happen to combat this high rate of paternity fraud is they should put possibly mandatory DNA testing. It should be optional. It should be there and it's the man's call. If he wants to have a DNA test done, then he can say yes. But if he chooses not to, then fine. But it should be there as an option. Some man willing to wear the jackets. Right. Available to men. But yes, being lied to. It is what it is. Yeah. Right. I agree with you wholeheartedly, Shadow. No other woman told me. I you may been searching for. And no matter what them tell you, you a star.
Man will never ever tell you for change, girl.
My panic and I frolic through me chopping enigmatic and a regular me clap it ever flow. No shot a topic work for mine, a rise dramatic. Black woman, ya supersonic. Now go catch me in the traffic and me chopper automatic. Never drop this stand or never desperate. Better know what's stuck in the inventory. Oh.